Your arms give out around hour 3. The stone doesn't care. Neolithic women had arm bones 11 to 16% stronger than today's Olympic rowers, and they built that strength grinding grain. So what, exactly, were they doing all day? In 2017, Dr. Alison Macintosh at the University of Cambridge did something no researcher had done before. She compared prehistoric female bones not to prehistoric male bones, the standard that had defined the field for decades, but to the bones of living female athletes, rowers, runners, women whose entire training lives were built around physical output. The Neolithic women won by a significant margin. Their arm bones were nearly 30% stronger than non-athletes. Their legs were comparable to modern rowers. The loading, the skeletal stress, was concentrated almost entirely in the upper limbs, which means the work that built those bodies wasn't walking, running, or climbing. It was something bilateral, repetitive, and relentless, performed with both hands, day after day, for decades. The loading wasn't in their legs. It was in their arms. And that distinction changes everything. The saddle quern wasn't a kitchen tool. It was a caloric engine. The motion, pushing the upper stone across the lower concave surface, generates compression between the two stone faces, shattering grain cell walls and releasing the starches inside. Each push loads the anterior shoulder, bicep, and wrist. Each drag resets the chain. Over years, that pattern doesn't just build muscle. It remodels bone. The humeral shaft grows denser, thicker in cross-section, reshaping itself permanently around the demand placed on it. That remodeling outlasts the person by thousands of years. It is still readable today. This wasn't just a stone. It was a biological record of labor that history forgot to write down. The hide tanning process worked on similar logic. Brain tissue, specifically its lecithin content, a phospholipid that penetrates the collagen matrix of raw skin, displaces water from the hide's fiber structure. Without that displacement, drying skin collapses its own bonds, producing raw hide, stiff, cracking, useless in cold. With it, the fibers remain supple. The hide insulates. It survives the freeze-thaw cycle that would kill an unclothed human in hours. One surprising detail: one animal's brain contains almost exactly enough lecithin to tan that animal's own hide. A biochemical coincidence, discovered independently, across continents, by women who processed hides as a matter of daily survival. The basketry cradle worked on pure load distribution. A rigid back-mounted infant carrier, woven from plant fiber, transferred the baby's weight through a tump line across the forehead to the spine and posterior muscles, freeing both hands entirely. Unlike a chest sling, which locks the arms and compresses forward vision, the cradle preserved full upper limb function for digging, scraping, and plant processing. This wasn't just a carrier. It was an ergonomic solution that let a nursing mother maintain full productive output without setting the child down. The fire has been burning since before dawn. The grinding stone is still warm from yesterday. Around you, the work is distributed without discussion. Older girls peel roots dug from flooded ground. Younger children keep the fire fed. You are working the quern, forward, drag, and beside you, another woman is working fresh hide with a bone scraper, pulling one edge taut between her front teeth to free her hands for the tool. That tooth grip has a cost. The incisors of Neanderthal women show wear patterns identical to hide workers documented in Ethiopia today. Gradual grinding of the anterior surface, sometimes fracture. A broken front tooth in a world without dentistry is a slow emergency. They did it anyway, because the hide had to be finished. Because clothing failure in winter is not discomfort, it is death. The roots soaking in the clay vessel beside you are not ready yet. They need 18 to 24 hours. The tubers contain linamarin, a glycoside that the body converts to hydrogen cyanide. Unprocessed, they cause vomiting, then worse. But prolonged soaking releases the enzyme linamarase, which breaks the glycoside down. The cyanide dissolves into the water. You pour the water out. What remains is edible. What remains is calories. During the wet season, when hunters return empty-handed week after week, women and children processing roots like these supply 85% of the group's total caloric intake. Not a supplement. The entire margin between survival and starvation. The water gets poured out at hour 18, not 17. 18. The knowledge of that number lives in the person standing next to you. It was given to her by the person who stood next to her mother. The air in the shelter smells of smoke, wet stone, and something sharp from the soaking roots. The children don't notice. They grew up with it. The rotary quern arrived in Europe around 400 BCE. 2 circular stones, one rotating on the other. The new motion required less arm force. Grain was processed faster, with less body. By the medieval period, Macintosh's study found women's arm bones had already shifted, closer to modern baselines. The bone remodeling that once separated Neolithic women from elite athletes had faded within a few thousand years of mechanical assistance. Then, industrialization outsourced the rest. Textile mills replaced hide working. Commercial flour replaced home grinding. The supply chain replaced the pharmacological knowledge women held about local plants. Knowledge so embedded in oral transmission that today, 75% of all documented medicinal plant applications exist in only one language. When that language dies, the formula goes with it. We didn't lose strength gradually. We traded it, deliberately, for speed. You buy flour pre-milled, pre-packaged, pre-measured. They built the arms that ground it from scratch. You discard the soaking water without knowing why. They knew exactly why, and when, and what happened if they didn't. You use the front teeth for nothing more demanding than food already soft enough to swallow. The bones that carried civilization are still out there, in the ground, 7,000 years old, denser than anything we produce today. We didn't surpass them. We just forgot what they knew. This content is intended for educational and documentary purposes only. All historical, archaeological, and scientific references are presented in factual context. No content is intended to glorify, sensationalize, or instruct harmful behavior.